Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Carroll style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by a Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Carroll style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Carroll style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. Welcome back to Improving Your Thoughts by Freeing Yourself. We are in part 2 of Are You Comfortable with Living with Your Pain? Now, I got cut off on the first one, so I had to finish it up. This is what this one is. This is a continuation of part 1. Where we left off at, I was talking about my so-called friend, the one that I was friends with, and then we no longer friends. That's what I left off at. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it up there, and then I'm going to continue from there. So what was going on during the time when me and Chris was friends? Our friendship was really based on us going out a lot. We went clubbing, and I was in my 30s. And she's 10 years older than me. So you can tell that there should be more maturity on her part. But what ended up happening with us was that she was living in my apartment. And I wasn't charging her any rent or anything. She stayed with me for about 5 months. I think it was about 5 months. It was supposed to have been 2 weeks, but it turned out to be 5 months. When I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I'm going to make this real short, sweet, and to the point. I used to stay with her, and the reason why I stayed with her because I was in transition from my old apartment, moving into my mother's house because my mother had surgery and she needed someone to help her heal pretty much. By the time she was healed, well, put it like this, I thought she was healed. She was pretty much able to do whatever she wanted to do on her own. She even planned a cruise and all that. I said, well, if you can go on a cruise, then you don't need my help anymore. I can go ahead and move back to Houston. And I needed somewhere to stay. I ended up contacting Chris, asking her, is it okay for me to stay with her until I figure out where I was going to be working at? I had a job. I was a correction officer, but I was transferring my area from the San Antonio area to the Huntsville or to Rocheron. Those are two opposite ends. Now, Rocheron is on the south part of Houston, and I mean all the way south, close to Galveston, Texas. Then there's Huntsville. Huntsville is north, closer going towards Dallas. So I didn't know what direction I was going to be going into. I needed to figure that out. So I asked Chris, is it okay that I stay with you until I know where I'm going to be working at, where they were going to transfer me to? Because I had the option to say where I wanted to go, but it was going to take time if I chose on my own. So what I did, I just told the people at the prison, hey, I just need y'all to just put me somewhere you need me. And that way I am already in a location where I'm going to live at. So I end up in Huntsville. Trust me, that was just a story all in itself. But I ended up staying with Chris during this time until my transition period started. When I was living with Chris, the first few months was great. Like, it was easy. I paid her rent, whatever the amount she asked for, I gave it to her. And that was that. But then she moved in her kid's brother, basically the brother of her kid's father, the one that I was talking to on the plane. She moved him in without consulting me. She didn't ask me was I okay with that, or none of that. So I felt so uncomfortable with him being there due to the fact that I knew that he liked me. And at this particular time, it has already been 10 years of Chris and my friendship, as well as him. I known them all at the same time because I met them all at the same time. So this person was also married. He's married. So why is he moving in a house with 2 women and children? Why don't he go live with his brother? That was my thought, But he chose to stay with us. And matter of fact, I think his brother even mentioned that one time. Like, why are you over there with my kid's mother? And I don't know what he said, but I do remember hearing them talk about that at some point. The point is that it gave him access to me. And it wasn't a great situation. And that's when I started making plans to move. It's time for me to find my own place. But I wasn't quite ready for my own place due to the fact of the transition. Now, why did it take months for me to find where I'm going to go? Well, I found out that with the state of Texas, it's not that easy to just make this transfer, especially because I didn't give enough notice. I didn't give a 2 weeks notice when I left from San Antonio going to Houston. I was actually quitting, to be honest, but the sergeant that I was working with there in the Beatville area told me, don't quit. He said, how about I put you down as a transfer? You can resign or whatever, and you can transfer and then make that transition that way. But it's going to be a process due to the fact you didn't give us enough notice, but it'll still work. So that's why it took so long. Anyways, by the time I decided to move out, I moved into a hotel. I stayed in the hotel for 2 years. Now, I didn't have to live in that hotel for 2 years, but I'm gonna be straight honest. I loved the room service. I was enjoying the the cleaning. I didn't have to clean. I could just call for a housekeeper to come clean up the room. It was like living in my own personal situation where I had someone to come and clean for me, and oh man, I loved it. So that's why I stayed there for 2 years. But I had a friend, a male friend at this, who had called me and said, are you tired of living in the hotel? And I was like, no, not really. He said, I think you should be. And I was like, why not? He said, you'll save more money if you got your own place and stop spending all that money at the hotel, which he was actually right. But I decided to take him on this offer and move into an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, which I thought I didn't need because it was just me. And I was like, why do I need a 2-bedroom? He's like, well, that's what's available. So how about you just move in to the 2-bedroom? And I did. And not knowing that Chris was going through personal situations because she had lost that apartment that I was living with her in. She ended up losing it. She was living from place to place, place to place. I found that out through a mutual friend, and I contacted her. And I said, well, hey, you don't have to stay over there and over here and over there. What's going on? And she told me she was looking for a place, that she had a place that was going to be available within 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, how about you just come stay with me until your place is ready? She came to my place, and then 2 weeks passed, and she was still there. And then a month passed, and she was still there. And I asked her about it, and I said, what's going on? And she was like, oh, I let go of the place. I said, what you mean? And she said, well, the landlord decided to keep it and didn't want to. I mean, all these different stories. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. But I told her this. I said, look, if you're going to live here, I'm going to need rent from you. I'm not going to let you live with me for free. I didn't live with you for free, so I don't think it's fair for me to let you do that with me. And she was like, oh, okay, well, I'll give you some money. Well, right after that month came around, she gave me some money. Then the next month came around, she didn't give me anything. And then the next month came around, she didn't give me anything. And I was like, oh, man, now we're going to play these games, so I'm not going to get anything from this girl. I didn't do you like this. But then in the meantime, she got this guy coming to my house. He's married. And the problem that I had with the guy, first off, every time I was around him, he was flirting with me, and I didn't like it. He made me feel uncomfortable because of the fact that I knew he was married. And I was saying to myself, if you can do this to me, and you got my friend here, and you messing with her, and then you got a whole wife at home, boy, you are so disrespectful. And I don't like that. So I didn't want him in my house. Well, when I would go to work, he would come over to my house. Like I said, oh, I left this part out. I ended up quitting working at the prison, and I went back to my old job. I started back working at Hewlett Packard. And that was because working at the prison was becoming very depressing for me. I didn't like it. I hate what I was witnessing there, and I didn't have the heart for that. I have a heart of helping people, not hurting them. And I kept seeing a bunch of that stuff going on at that penitentiary. Plus, I almost got into a fight with a guard, with another officer. I mean, I can tell you that story later, but I could have went to jail because I was going to beat her ass. I was so mad at that woman. And all behind her girlfriend, which I'm not even gay. And I told her, I don't want your girlfriend. Why you keep trying me with this crap? And the problem is that we was at a male prison, working at a male prison. So it was a lot going on there. So I ended up letting that job go because I got written up. They wrote me up because I was gonna beat her ass. I'm sorry. I really was. I wanted to hurt that girl. I told you I was a different person in my 30s and 20s, you guys. I was different. I was not the same who I am today. I have changed. Man. So, anyways, I ended up leaving that job. I remember going from my lunch period, and I made the phone call to my old boss, and I say, look, I need to come back. Can I come back? And he said, yes. He said, I was trying to call you. Is this your new number? And I was like, yeah. He said, man, I've been calling your old number the whole time trying to get you to come back and all that stuff. So I said, man, when can I start? He like, you can start right now. And I was like, nah, today is Friday. How about I start on Monday? And he was like, okay, cool. So I ended up walking back into the building, and I was so happy, and I was like smiling. People were looking at me like, okay, you went outside pissed off, but you coming back smiling. What is really going on with you? And I said, man, I quit. I'm like, this ain't it. I quit. But I went on and worked the rest of the shift. I didn't let it go, like walk out the door. I could have, but I didn't because I'm a noble person. So I stayed, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and work the rest of the shift. But I'm telling you right now, I won't be back tomorrow. And I'm bringing my uniform and stuff back. So when I was leaving that job, I went to work back at Hewlett Packard Computers, building computers. How you go from building computers to being a correctional officer, people in prison? That's totally two different weird things for me. And I'm telling you, when I was working at that prison, I went through a depression. I didn't like it. But the thing too is that, and that prison can depress you because there's so much going on. I told you one day I'm going to tell that story about the prison. I'm going to give the penitentiary stories later. I think I'm going to do it in another season though. But anyway, so when I got back to Hewlett Packard, I was working overnight. So I was working the graveyard shift from 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. And I remember when I would come home, my neighbor upstairs would meet me before I got to my door, and he would tell me, hey, the lady that stays downstairs with you, I want you to know what's going on when you're not here. And he would tell me everything about what was happening when I was at work. And he was like, he he didn't know how to pronounce my name, Alayla, so he just, I don't know, he called me Lala, hey Lala, let me tell you what's going on. And he was an older gentleman, like older. So he was really for real with his details, you know? And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, every time you leave here, this man in his blue truck just pulls up and he be having these cases of beers and all that. He be having a party down there. And I'm like, oh, for real, in my house. So you gonna draw heat to my house, like all kinds of stuff. And he's like, and I know how Chris was. Chris did like to party. I told you we used to go out clubbing, right? But I didn't have company at my house. I was very quiet. Matter of fact, I'm still like that. I'm very quiet. I'm conservative when it comes to my home. I don't have people parading in and out of my home. I don't like it. And that's the opposite of me and her. She always had company, always had people coming in and out of her house, always doing some weekend party, always drinking, always. Even to this day, they still do this because I see them on Facebook. They do it even to this day. And I said, wow, we really were two different people, but the partying is what we had in common. So, to make a long story short,
we'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Carroll style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarrollstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like. This guy, I didn't want him in my house because one night I was getting ready for work and I didn't have a lock on my bedroom door. I do now, but I didn't at the time. And I was getting dressed and he just walked into my room. Now I knew he knew that I had just gotten out of the shower because you can hear the water running. And I just heard him say something to her because it was just her and him in the house and me. And I heard him say to her, I'm finna go up in there. And she was laughing and she's like, boy, don't mess with that girl. And he's like, no, I'm finna go up in there. I'm finna go up in there. And for you know, my door came open and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like, get out of here. That's what I'm telling him. Get out of my room. And I'm butt naked. I mean, everything exposed. And he's staring at me with this smile on his face, looking. And I'm still telling him to leave, and he's not. He's just standing there. And I'm telling Chris, get your dude, man. This is so disrespectful. And she was like, oh, girl, he just playing. How are you playing? And this is my home, and I invited you to come here, and I didn't invite him. I invited you, thinking that you was just living from pillar to pole, sleeping on people's couches. Like, come on, this is how it is gonna be. So, no, we're not doing the disrespect in my own home because I had already had an encounter with her kid's uncle when he tried to take advantage of me sexually. When here I am, someone put something in my drink and he tries to take my clothes off and, you know, take advantage of me. And I'm thinking, this is it. That was done at your house. Now I'm at my house and this a whole nother dude. Oh no, we're not finna do this. So I literally was freaking out and I was over it at this point. And I'm like, you gotta go. You gotta move out. This is enough. So she ain't talked to me ever since. Me and her haven't talked ever since. But I see her. And when I see her, she don't say anything. I saw her a week ago and she pretended that she didn't see me. I saw her 4 months prior to that. She act like she didn't see me. And then I saw her again and she act like she didn't see me. So I said, oh, this girl here, how can you, it's been 10 years. I'm over it. I didn't move on. I'm healed from that. That's not my life anymore. I don't go out partying and stuff. Yeah, I go out with my husband, but it's just me and him. And every blue moon, I mean, when the moon is actually blue, I probably go out with my best friend, but I don't do it too often. And that was my birthday weekend, and she wanted to go out with me, but it's just, I'm not the same person anymore. I've changed, and I've noticed that her lifestyle hasn't really changed. So people outgrow each other, and I get it. But what I want you guys to understand is that I think she's living in that pain, and she don't know how to break free from it, because if it's been 10 years, why are you still holding a grudge all these years later? That means that you are living in pain that you haven't let go of. So, for example, when I saw her at her apartments, my son, he had a friend that stayed across the street in those same apartments. So one day I went to go and meet up with him in those apartments to walk him back across the street. It was getting dark. So I saw her, and she was driving next, well, she had passed me by, and I saw her, and she looked at me and kept going like, oh, well. And then she stopped and went to the mailbox. Well, I had to walk past that mailbox. So when I walked past, she saw me. She put her head down real fast and started looking at her mail. And I kept walking, but then I said, you know what? I'm not finna do this. I'm not gonna play this game. So I turned back around and I walked back up to her and I said, hey, Chris. And she looked at me with this. She said, oh, hey. I said, how you doing? And she's like, I'm good. I said, you look good. You know, basically trying to let her know, girl, I ain't worried about all that craziness. I'm over it. Me and you don't have to be acting like we don't like each other. I mean, you might not like me, though. You probably don't. I'm pretty sure you don't. But it comes a time in a grown person's life when you need to get past certain things. People are dying. And I mean, for real. The guy that just passed away when her kid's father said that, you know, that Andre passed, he was the mediator between the two of us. Because this is the second time, that was the second time that me and her had a falling out. The first time, he was the one who actually helped us mend our relationship and talk again. Because he would talk to her and talk to me and be like, hey, I'm going to bring y'all together. We'll go out and I'm going to bring y'all together. Y'all going to have a real conversation and talk. That's what he did. Because he was like, hey, I don't like when y'all not fight, when y'all fighting with each other, when y'all not friends. Because y'all are pretty cool together. Like, dang, y'all are fun. Well, I guess that's all we were, was just fun, because the fun is over, you know? And I realized, even after all that, when I saw her again, I thought that maybe she would have noticed that I'm no longer mad at you and I'm not holding a grudge against you. I forgave you. So why are we still doing this? Because when I saw her again 3 months later after that at the corner store, I saw her daughter. Her daughter embraced me and gave me a hug. And she was like, oh, you looking good. And then I saw her sitting in the car with her head down, again, pretending that she don't see me. And then she's on the phone talking to somebody or whatever, because that's what she does. Like, she don't realize I know her due to the fact that we spent decades together. Girl, I know you. We was friends over a decade. I know you. I know how you act when you see somebody that you had a falling out with, because you treated me the same way that you treated that person when y'all two was no longer friends. When you was mad at Cassandra, when you was mad at Christina, when you was mad at Ida. Girl, I know how you act. You doing the same thing to me. And what I realized is that as time goes on, some people grow up and some people don't. Remember, I mentioned she's 10 years older than me, you guys. So right now, she's 57 years old. And I saw her a week ago, and she's still doing the same thing. She rode up on the side of me. We met up at a red light. I was coming back from getting my nails done and going shopping because my husband and I was going to go out on a date. And she pulled up on the side of me. She looked over and saw me. She turned her head real fast and act like she didn't see me. And we sat there at the red light for a good minute. Soon the light turned green. She took off like a missile. And I say, wow, this girl here. I guess age is just a number. I guess it's a real statement. Age ain't nothing but a number. Because if you ain't mature in your mind, you act like a kid. Over time, life should have done something to show you that what you upset about shouldn't be something to be upset about. So I started thinking maybe she felt ashamed of what happened. Maybe that's what it is, and she can't face me and say, hey, girl, I did do you wrong. I did misunderstood what was actually happening with you during the time that you got into that situation with my kid's uncle and the guy, that I was messing with, opened up the door on you. And then that wasn't the only thing that happened. Now this was the biggest thing that made me make her say, you gotta go. This boyfriend of hers, her married boyfriend, his wife found out where he was. She had a tracking device on his truck. She sent me a message on Facebook saying that, are you messing with my husband? And I know where you live and I'm going to get you. And I'm saying, whoa, hold up. First off, I don't like your husband. Second of all, I'm not messing with your husband. And we ain't finna do this here because I'm just going to work and coming home. I am not involved in all this. I'm going to school. Like, come on, man. I'm in work. I'm at school. I'm at home. I don't have time for this. And I told her, I said, this man's wife know where I live. And she knows that he's coming over here in my house and she thinks that he's messing with me. And that's not what it is. So she just laughed it off. How you laugh at every damn thing? She didn't think it was a big deal. She thought it was cute. I said, no, it's not. So me doing what I had to do to make it be known I'm not the girl you're looking for, I sent his wife a picture of her and him hugged up together. I said, this is who your husband is messing with, not me. So don't come over my house with this drama or it's going to be a problem. I'm not sticking up for her, but you ain't finna bring that crap over here to my house. It will be problems. And then the wife sent me a message back and say, hey, I apologize, but I just want you to know that I do know that he be over there. I said, he won't be over here for long because I'll make sure of that. But it is what it is. And what I gotta get you guys to understand is that you have to step into unfamiliar territory in order to heal from your pain. You have to change the way you normally would do things when you get hurt. We all have a mechanism, or basically we all have a safety mechanism that we put up to heal ourselves and to shield ourselves, to protect ourselves from pain. But when it comes down to getting that real healing, you have to know that you're going to be uncomfortable before you get comfortable to be able to heal from the pain. You may say to yourself, I may not know what joy look like, but I do know I deserve it. That's what you should say to yourself. So, are you willing to trade the discomfort for, basically, are you willing to trade being comfortable in your pain for discomfort to start your growth? Because if you continue to keep yourself stuck, you'll never know what it looks like to be free. Now, what about the stories that we tell ourselves? Right now, you're probably telling yourself a story right now. You're probably telling yourself something that goes like this. I can't leave this person because I won't survive on my own. Now, I'm talking to those of you who are dealing with relationship issues with a person who is not good for you. It ain't just about boyfriend, girlfriend. It's also about friendship too. Sometimes we have these friends, like I just described to you, that you need to let go, cut loose. But y'all been friends for so long, you don't know what it looked like without that person in your life. The first time that I went through not talking to Chris, it was 2 years. That 2 years was the time when I was living at the hotel. And it felt different. I'm gonna lie, it did. It felt real different to me because I was so used to having her to go out with. That was my going out buddy, and I was still going out during those times. So I found a new going out buddy. I found someone else to go out with. But not only that, we worked together. Me and this person that I found to go out with, we worked together. And she was totally opposite of Chris. Completely opposite. Like nothing like this girl. She was younger than me. She wasn't that much younger than me. I didn't go from 10 years of someone older than me to 10 years of someone younger than me. I did not do that. She was only a year younger than me, by the way. So, the thing is that she was going through some issues. This is how I knew what I'm doing right now today. How I knew that I am supposed to do what I'm doing right now. Because it started with her. She was going through some situations with her kids, with the father of her kids, and she was pretty much about to be homeless. She needed somewhere to stay as well. And I was there, and she didn't have a car. She was not been able to drive. She didn't have a car to get to and from work. And I was there to help her to get back on her feet. And this girl, she was special to me because of the fact that she appreciated the help. She didn't take advantage of my help or nothing. She literally appreciated it. She was just, that was my girl. And when I did get the opportunity to help her, I felt like when she got on her feet, because she didn't need me no more. And the thing is that we still remain friends. It wasn't no bad blood between us, none of that. I didn't do nothing to hurt her. She didn't do nothing to hurt me. We was just cool with each other from that point. And that's what I realized then. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm actually supposed to help people get their lives together. Sadly, she passed away with breast cancer. And I ain't gonna lie, that was devastating to me because just to see how growth and how well she turned out, I was like, dang, this is it, you know? So all the stuff that I went through with Chris changed me. And that's why I'm not that same person no more. Because of the two different people in my lives that I needed to help. One took advantage and the other one appreciated. And I was able to say, I gotta do what I gotta do. And I gotta make these changes. So before I end the podcast, I'm gonna help you guys with something. I'm gonna help you to release your pain. First, it starts with awareness. You need to be aware that you are in a painful situation. What you don't admit, you cannot heal. What you continue to hide, you cannot heal. So you have to change that. You have to know that you are in pain and what is actually causing your pain. What's the root of it? After you are aware of it, now you have to accept it. Be accepting of what you're going through. Say to yourself, yes, I am hurting. Yes, I deserve better. And now it's time to take action. So the 3 A's, awareness, acceptance, and action. Take action. What can you do? You can write in a journal. I'm telling you, journaling is very therapeutic. You can find someone to talk to, someone who's not going to judge you. You can also pray. You can fast. Fast against anything that you have a habit with, that you just know that it's hard to stop. Fast against that. And you can meditate. Meditation is awesome. I got some podcasts that help you meditate. So go back into season 5, season 4, and you can find the progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, and visual. Get that, okay? Now, how about a simple no? How about a simple I just don't want to? How about that? And what I mean is, like, let's say you got a sister and she got kids and she needs you to watch her children. And you've been doing it for a while, but that's not something you want to continue to do, but she are taking advantage of your kindness. She just come on to your house, drop them kids off and leave. Or let's say you have a daughter that's doing that to you with your grandbabies. The thing is that you gotta nip that in the bud. And you gotta say no, not today, not this week, not next week, not until I call for them myself. If I don't call for them, don't bring them kids over here. Not by themselves. You better be with them, and you better stay with them, and you better take them with you when you leave. That will help you to release a lot of pain that you're going through too, if you can just say no to those who are taking advantage of you. So healing isn't about one giant leap. It's about one consecutive step at a time. So, replacing pain with purpose is the main reason why I'm here today. Here's a beautiful way of healing. When you let go of pain, you make room for your purpose. Always tell yourself that. I'm making room for my purpose. That's why I'm not going to hold on to this pain. Every scar that you have, everyone has a scar. We have scars physically, and we also have a scar emotionally. Every scar that you have carries a story of resilience because you're still here. You bounce back from it. You got to heal from it, okay? Every loss can open up the door to new love. Yeah, new love. That's what happened with me, with my second husband. And you know what? Today is actually the first year of his anniversary that he died. He died on today of last year. And now I look back at that and I say, man, every wound that I'm reminded of that I went through with him is my strength. It's my growth. And it shows how far I've came. So when you stop being comfortable with your pain, you start being comfortable with your growth. And that's where I am right now. Remember that shift. That's what you are doing right now. You're shifting. Right there, when you're shifting in that moment, that is where life begins to feel meaningful again. That's when you start feeling that spark of hope in your life again. So I got a challenge for you guys. I'm about to end the podcast and I want to give you something to do. I want to challenge you on something. This week, I want you to take notice of one place where you've grown comfortable with your pain. Just one. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's the way that you talk to yourself. Maybe it's a habit that's draining you. Whatever it is, what I want you to do after you have identified it, I want you to take one small action towards disrupting that pattern. It can be something as simple as a phone call, journaling, fasting, like I said, just something, or just simply just saying no. So I want to also give you guys something to do as well. I want y'all to find a way to take a pencil, paper, write down some questions and answer these questions. Number one, I'm going to tell you the question. I want you to write it down. I want you to answer it and be serious about this. Don't filter. Be real honest about yourself. Number one, what I want you to do is, you want to ask yourself, where in my life have I grown comfortable with pain, even though it doesn't serve me? Number two, what story do I tell myself that keeps me loyal to this pain? Number 3, what is my pain currently costing me? Emotionally, what is it costing me physically? What is it costing me spiritually? And then number 4, what small steps can I take this week to disrupt the cycle of living in pain? And the very last question I want you to write down and answer is, if I choose freedom over pain, what would my life begin to look like and feel like? Number 5 is when you use your imagination. You're going to imagine what you really want to do, how you want to be and how you want to feel, and how you want to look in the future. It can be 6 weeks from now. It can be 6 months from now. It can be 6 years from now. But how do you want it to be? That is what you are going to do. And take these questions seriously. Don't look at these questions as if, this is just something that I'm just going to write down just to give a short answer. No, you're the only one who is going to actually read these questions. And you are the only one who's going to know about them unless you share them with someone else. And that's on you if you choose to. Now I have one more question for you. Remember in the beginning I asked you, are you comfortable with living in your pain? I have this question. Are you finally ready to let go? Yeah. Pain it may have been your companion, but it is not meant to be your identity. When I asked you that question, are you comfortable with living in your pain? That wasn't really the main question. That really wasn't the true question. The true question, the real question is, are you ready to outgrow it? It's time to move on. And remember, you don't have to be comfortable with pain when healing is always available for you. It's always available for you. So you cannot make excuses and say, oh, yeah, no, I can't do this, I can't do that. No, you don't need to do that anymore. So thank you for joining me today on Improving Your Thoughts by Freeing Yourself. If you like this podcast, if this podcast has spoken to you in any way, please share it, reflect on it, and keep taking small steps towards your healing. Letting go of that pain. Remember, healing is not a destination. It is a daily choice. Every day that you wake up, you are making the choice to heal. Now, I've already healed from my past trauma and all that, but one of the things I do understand is that I don't want to repeat those traumas. So I still continue to keep practicing what helped me heal. I continue to write. I continue to meditate. I pray every day. I also fast from time to time whenever I feel the need that certain things is getting too hard or tough on me. I fast. And then there's also when I talk to God. And of course, that's prayer. But sometimes I just talk to God just to be having a conversation. But I go for walks. Take time to go for a walk. Walking is therapeutic. If you're able to just leave outside of your house and go for a walk, do that. You will find bright ideas coming to you when you're walking. You'll start thinking about things that you want your future to be like. Matter of fact, it'll help you answer these 5 questions that I gave you because you can think straight on your feet. If you're that type of person, I know I am. I think well on my feet. So thank you, and until next time, I'm signing out. I'm Alayla Carroll, signing out. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, regain control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.